Well, hello. So, welcome to a unique style of video. Well, not unique. Unique for me because I'm just trying out this camera. I want to see all the different lightings and all of that. But anyway, today we're going to be discussing Mars in the seventh house in Gemini for Sagittarius Ascendant people. What happens when Mars, who rules the 12th house and the 5th house, sits in the 7th house in Gemini? And as always, if you do not know if you have this particular position, what sign it's in, what nakshatra it's in, along with all your astrological details, go to karasastrology.com. In the description, along with, you will find my academy, Magha Vedic Astrology Academy, especially with my new course on wristwatch and wealth, which is pretty much now the number one course, taken over, number one course for me. And I'm glad that people are finding it so helpful, and it is helping. It is helping. So that's great. So anyway, Mars in the seventh house in Gemini. So first of all, if you think, I know many people will say I'm a Manglik, and this is why things are not going great, blah, blah, blah. I don't know what that means. When you say I'm a Manglik, first of all, I don't even know that vocabulary. Okay. Because I try to follow as much of a practical, realistic Jyotish or astrology versus what you will hear on newspapers and online forums. Because Manglik or non-Manglik doesn't mean nothing. It's not changing anything. It's not ruining anything for you. One thing, what we see here with Mars when it comes into Gemini, okay, there's like a love-hate relationship here. And that love-hate relationship comes in because on one hand, this individual wants spark of communication in marriage, spark of communication in relationship. And it's not just spark. They want a rumbling conversation. And this is why I said it's a love-hate thing. On one end, they want to talk loud. They want to talk with a straightforward perspective on things with their partner. And you will see and again, you will notice this if you have this, like when you have a heated, good argument with the spouse, it becomes the segue into your intimacy. Okay, that's one thing. On the other hand, we also see the partner of this individual can behave childlike. Okay, especially in a women's chart, Mars in the seventh house in Gemini will bring about a very childlike perspective of the spouse. And this is not the same childlike as Virgo. See, Virgo is truly childlike. Virgo is the adolescence. Gemini is more, you can think of a graduate from college. Okay, so this, especially in a female's chart, it'll show that a husband who is very quick to make decisions on things, who is extremely well versed in the art of communication, information, data. Okay, usually, nowadays, not even nowadays, for the past 10 years, I've seen with women with Mars in the seventh in Gemini, I have married people from IT softwares, marketing, communications. Okay. One thing you will also see with the seventh house, and you will see this, if there's no fights and arguments in the marriage, and that is going to be a rare case with this Mars, but if there's no fights and arguments in the marriage, the sex life diminishes. When there's some form of heated arguments, when there is some form of aggression between the two, the friction between the two, it's kind of like rubbing two wood or two stones or woods together to make a spark. Because you got to understand, what is the symbolism of Gemini? Gemini is symbolized by the twins. And what is the symbolism? Have you seen the symbolism of Gemini? It's like man and a woman holding each other. right? They're holding each other from each side. So it's like they're balancing. They're like going back and forth. This is what Gemini is. It's like they're this way and then this way. It cannot be just this way. Then it's unbalanced because it has to swing this way as well. Okay, so, and then especially in the seventh house of marriage, you know, you will see if both the husband and wife decide we're not going to spend money, we're going to save. Then what happens is suddenly some expense comes in and takes away certain chunk of your money. For example, let's say you guys are saving. Okay, we're going to eat cheap. We're not going to do this because we're saving to do this one particular thing. Then what happens is maybe let's say that your air conditioner goes out. Maybe there's some plumbing issue that occurs. Now you have to spend $800-900 to spend money there. Versus when you have this, okay, it's always okay. And I'm not saying this has to be overdone. It's always okay for the spouse to spend money on you and you to spend money on the spouse. It's a necessary thing to keep that balance. So if you, let's say you do want to save, right? Your saving has to go up. You have to go this way and then go up. Go this way and then go up. Because if you go by yourself, then when this dip comes in, you're not going to be happy about it because it is going to be an unexpected expense. That's what this is going to do. So this is why, because remember, 12th Lord is coming into the 7th house. If you don't spend money in the marriage, if you don't spend money and have some form of a good time, then again, the sexual interactions and, you know, that passion kind of start disappearing. Unless, like, you will see naturally, sometimes you will see a spouse will, you know, like, you guys are busy in children, raising kids, paying the mortgage, and the sexual life is diminishing, the intimacy is diminishing. Suddenly, the spouse is like, oh, I like this silk scarf for my wife. Okay, let me buy it. So they spend like $200-300 buying a silk scarf, and they bring it in, and suddenly, next thing you know, now there's churning again within the marriage. Okay, there's churning again within the marriage. And especially you will see back in the days. You can even do this. Let's say if you're single. One thing you should do, take a pen, ink pen, because Mars represents ink. If you're single, pretend like you're writing a letter to your lover. Write a poem, a passionate poem to your lover that you love, your beloved that you have. When you write that, you know what it's going to do? It's going to activate your Mars in the 7th house. And by you writing, because Mars is ink, Gemini is communication, 7th house is partner. When you write a love letter to your pretend partner that you don't have now, it activates your ability to get that. And I've never shared this particular technique before. This is something I've only given in certain remedies. Okay, but and the reason why I give it, because it's only when the planetary things are aligned you'll automatically write that. Usually when people have written this, they have only dated people. Like, but now, of course, if you are really single and just want to date and just get to have that experience, you can do that. And then the other thing you will also see, especially with Mars, when you have children, anytime you're wanting to be intimate, somehow children will create some interruption. Okay? Children create interruption. And the thing is, one way to avoid this time to time is to either take your children to sporting events or give your children an electronic communication device before you're planning to do anything. Because remember, fifth lord is going into the seventh. Okay, so what is it doing? The fifth lord is going into the third from itself, and it's going to cause interruption, wanting to put effort towards something else. There's a whole method behind it. Because for the fifth lord, seventh house becomes eighth from the eighth. This is why they're going to cause some interruption within the marriage. Maybe even these couples, you will see, somehow will get into arguments and fights because of the child wanting this, and one wanting to give them this thing, the other does not want to give them this thing. And of course, you have to be careful. When you do business, you will always attract people who will over negotiate with you. Number one. You will have people that will come to your business, the place of business, to waste your time. To waste your time and not really give you the due or the service. This is why it is important for when this person does business, you have to just be in a very nice way, direct and straightforward. If somebody, like, for example, I don't know if you have seen the movie Glenn Ross, where I think, was it Al Pacino? Oh, no. It was Ed Harris's character when he says, do not talk to Patels. So I don't know what, they're lonely. They love talking. They won't do anything. They will love talk. They'll talk your heart out. Okay. So you're going to get people who will do long forms of talking, a lot of negotiations, but may not fructify unless you bring that Martian quality within your business. Okay. Which is to be direct, straightforward. Like, this is the thing. So what can I do? Is this something that you're interested in? Okay. So you have to be you have to become Mars, because you are going to attract people who are going to be like Mars. But the thing is, it's more of that wasteful energy of Mars, because it's the 12th lord coming in. You're going to get 5th lord, which is in the 7th house. They will give you, of course, the gain, but you have to be straightforward and direct when it comes to your ability to do business. And of course, with Mars going into the 7th house, you will see, especially when in a female's chart, or actually, both male and female, you will see this, that even a younger brother will cause some form of interruption related to marriage. They might not like your husband or your wife. And the thing is, it's like sometimes they can, just say something without thinking. Say something, or even if they think, they can be very direct and straightforward to your spouse, which can then create some form of animosity, because Mars here is in an enemy sign of Gemini, of Mercury. Okay. And one thing I also see, that especially for a female, the husband at one point will go into a very high, like, branded luxury position. Something that other people want to get, but they can't get, the husband will get there. Now, if there's other planets around husband, then there has to be a different way for the husband to get there. Whether it's Sun, Ketu, Saturn. But they do get there, but they have to take that avenue of those particular planets with this. And on the other hand, also, with Mars in the 7th, you both have to have agreements before marriage and how you're going to handle your finances. Who's going to be in control? Do not let yourself just think that, well, it'll be both of us doing 50. No, there has to be something written. Like, are you going to take control of the finance, or do we have our own bank accounts? Do we have our own thing? because otherwise that becomes one of the area of big disputes. Like, why are you trying to control this? Why don't I have a say on it? And then the other person will say, well, because of this and because I'm doing this. You have to make sure that with the spouse, and this is why you can have Saturn here and Saturn will behave like a Manglik Saturn. You can have Sun here and Sun will behave like a Manglik Saturn. So don't think Mars and Manglik bring certain things. For example, if you're born at night in Krishna Paksha, okay, if you're born at night in Krishna Paksha, naturally this Mars may not even give you half the things that I'm saying right now. Okay. But the thing is, the way I have seen in my experience, what I'm telling you is how things are. Okay, regardless of the Shukla Paksha. But all I'm saying is that Mars actually does good. Okay, when you're born at night in a Shukla Paksha Tithi. Unless you're born in daytime. I'm sorry, if you're born at night in Krishna Paksha Tithi, and if you're born in daytime in a Shukla Paksha. So these Mars will have a different scenario and energy on that. Okay. So thank you very much. And we will see you with our regular programming tomorrow maybe. Thank you.